Hello, lovely people of the internet. Tis I, Ophelia Hartwig, aka Savage Minnow, with a little bit of a different background setup today. And I had to like redo my audio settings, so let me know if it's like completely screwed up, and I will go back and try and remember what I did previously. But yeah, it is what it is. So today I was gonna do I I've been dealing with like some just executive dysfunction lately. It is what it is. I gotta fix my light. Hopefully that helps. Um, just stuff happens. I want to do a Becky reaction vlog to Becky's first vlog. I'm gonna go ahead and schedule it for tomorrow morning, just so that like I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and like ready to do it. I kind of found out last minute this morning. Well, I found out last night about that mom was gonna come and do gamer mom cooking, so everything kind of got like rushed and shoved to the side, but I still like I almost clicked on it earlier today. I was like, I so want to watch this Becky vlog, but I didn't. I am gonna go ahead and click on it this evening so that I'm gonna put it on mute, and then I'm gonna like tap through and take screenshots for a thumbnail is all I'm gonna do, I think. And then 7:30 tomorrow morning Central Time is when I shall schedule it for. But as far as this evening, I've got a couple of cool things to tell you. I was just, like browsing. There's you're not familiar, there's like a science tab on Bing News where you can just like click on science stuff. Now, the first thing that I thought was like really freaking cool, and I think it maybe came up just because like it knows my opinions on young Earth creationists, because this is about evolution, but like microevolution, like within I should correct myself. I shouldn't use the term microevolution. Evolution is evolution, okay? Like microevolution, macroevolution, it's all just evolution, okay? Like there's not but it is an example that we can see literally in front of our eyes, which I think is really, really freaking cool. So this is from Newsweek. Invasive cannibal frog species is accelerating evolution by eating its own offspring. Like I got halfway through this article and I was like, oh my gosh, this looks awesome. So I want to read it with you guys. And then I think I'm going to read a second article with you guys also that for some reason did come up on my science tab. It's not as sciencey as this one, but it's okay. So evolution is typically a slow process, but one toad species may have inadvertently figured out a way to speed it up by eating their young. Now, if you're not familiar, like with evolution, which I don't know why you wouldn't be, but evolution isn't, people like talk about, oh, it's like advantageous to that species. It's not necessarily advantageous. Evolution happens by just like random chance. But if it's advantageous, it doesn't get bred out. It like actually evolves the species into like a new species, right? So, cane toads are native to Central America, but they were introduced to countries around the world in a failed effort to provide pest management on farms. The venomous species thrived in new places in Australia especially, and are now considered one of the globe's most invasive species. I've heard a lot about like how these cane toads are like just they're terrible for basically everywhere except for like Central America where they have natural predators. Or I don't know if it's like natural predators, but they have like a natural way that like keeps them in check. In Australia, the toads have no natural predators and will eat practically anything, including birds and small mammals, a combination of factors that has led to rapid population boom, resulting in millions of cane toads across the region. Because cane toads in Australia do not have any predators, the species' only threat lies in each other. If the population gets too big, cane toads will be forced to compete for increasingly scarce resources. As a result, they begin to eat their own hatchlings to keep their population numbers in check. This sort of cannibalistic behavior has been observed in the species' native populations, reported Smithsonian magazines, but it is far more common in Australia, where the lack of predators makes overpopulation their primary concern. So this is like, I think it is grizzly bears. Hi, Pugnacious. Um, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to check that out later. That sounds awesome, Pugnacious. So like, for instance, polar bears. I'm gonna scroll up, but we'll come back down because like the frog is, more apt to what we're talking about. I believe it's grizzly bears that are like literally like the same as polar bears, but there were several basically albino grizzly bears. Again, correct me in the comments if it's not grizzly bears, but it was advantageous in a very snowy climate for them to have white fur. So that continued and continued to like where we have now an entire population of white bears. Whereas and again, correct me if it's not grizzly bears, but in regular grizzly bear populations, there is the occasional albino white bear, but it's not advantageous in like a forest type setting to have a white bear on like a dark, background or whatever. So those will get killed off pretty quickly, usually before they have any offspring. So, in these species in Australia where they're like eating their own offspring, this is like really freaking sped up. And it's interesting that already there are more cannibalistic than the ones in Central America. So we were here, right? Yeah. However, in a new study published in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences of the United States of America, PNAS, now suggests that young toad hatchlings are adjusting rapidly in an effort to avoid the cannibalistic behaviors of their elders. Within Australian cane toad populations, tadpoles will devour the hatchlings laid in ponds by female toads. When these eggs first hatch, young can't swim or eat yet, so they pretty much only lie there on the bottom of the pond until they develop into tadpoles, explained the study's lead researcher, Jana DeVore. I probably butchered that, sorry, to Live Science. The cannibalistic behavior can only take place during this brief period, merely a few days before the hatchlings have matured into tadpoles. Once the hatchlings develop into tadpoles, they are too large and mobile for other tadpoles to eat them. So the cannibals have to work quickly if they want to consume them all, she added. They added. I don't know if it was a woman, I'm assuming. Added DeVore. I'm sure I'm totally butchering that name. As a result, cane toad hatchlings have started to develop at faster rate than seen in their native populations, effectively minimizing the window where they may be eaten by tadpoles. If cannibals are looking for you, the less time you can spend as an egg or a hatchling, the better. So developing faster may save the hatchlings from an unfortunate cannibalistic fate, but the accelerated maturation rate has its downfalls. Those who spent less time as hatchlings, they're less successful once they reach the tadpole stage. While cannibalism seems like the sort of behavior that may lead to population decline or even extinction, DeVore doesn't believe that that's on the horizon for cane toads. Australian cane toads may be their own worst enemy, but I wouldn't expect them to go extinct anytime soon. Good news is that cannibalism can control their population growth, she added. So, although cane toads are unlikely to drive themselves into extinction, these cannibalistic behaviors may help to regulate their abundance post-invasion. Apparently, they reached out for further comment and haven't gotten response yet. But isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? An invasive species that made itself less invasive. I just think that's so cool. Hey, Zibotanius. I just think it's like the neatest thing that these like toads evolved to be less invasive. Toads are awesome in general. But I thought this was. And yes, I did go back to McDonald's this morning when I went grocery shopping. But this is actually just like a cup of coffee that I made in this. Because I actually made myself lunch and dinner today, and you guys saw breakfast. So the second thing that I want to talk about is this other story that we have. over here about the Texas abortion bill. Now, if you're not familiar, let's not look at what's his face. In Texas, basically all the headlines read that like they reversed Roe v. Wade, which kind of. I'm not going to say that they did. Thank you, Sabatanius. I'm not going to say that they did reverse Roe v. Wade, but they did. Basically, they banned abortion once a heartbeat can be detected, which is usually right around the 6-week mark. Okay, like 6 weeks of pregnancy, which is like pretty much more than earlier than a lot of women even find out that they're pregnant. Okay. I didn't expect to like go into personal stories on this one actually, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to go ahead and do it because it's evening time and I'm feisty and I don't have a problem with you guys like knowing some personal information about me. I have had an abortion. I am on medication that if I were to get pregnant again, as I did before, that fetus will have defects to the point where it cannot reach maturation. Like it would be detrimental to the fetus and probably to me as well if I tried to bring a child to term on my current medication. Also, on my current medication, I cannot take oral birth control. I can't be on any type of hormonal birth control. And me and my spouse use condoms every single time that any type of fluid exchange would happen, shall we say. We use barrier birth control. That fails sometimes. And when I found out that I was pregnant, I was past the 6-week mark. Okay. So, if I was in that situation now in living in Texas, I would end up having to wait until it was a medical emergency for both me and that fetus before I could get a medical exemption to have an abortion, causing nothing but pain for me and that fetus. Now, let me show you really quick and it's actually an embryo. It's still considered an embryo at the 6-week stage. Let me show you what it looks like. Psych, that's a cat embryo at 3 weeks. This is a human embryo at 6 weeks. This is twice as old as the cat embryo. Spot the difference? Can you tell which one is a human? If I hadn't have told you which one was a human, would you have guessed which one is a human? This one has a tail too. It's not as defined yet. So I'm just going to throw that out there, okay? Now it may start to have like a cardiac like heartbeat, but it basically is not any more conscious than like a person who is like in a vegetative state, right? So they're saying that like again, it's still like perfectly legal to pull the plug on a person in a vegetative state. But that this is a human. This is a human with full human rights. Interesting. So I'm going to read this article to you. Social media users mobilized to inundate tip line seeking Texas abortion law violators. Stay tuned on this one. It's this is a good news story. This is in all of like the bullshit of yes, exactly. Them being like pro-birth and not pro-life. Exactly. This is just like a little like beam of light. Just a little one. A website seeking anonymous tips on people violating Texas's new law restricting abortions has been inundated with spam after viral calls from social media users. The law, which went into effect on Wednesday, bans physicians from providing abortions if a fetal heartbeat is detected, including embryonic cardiac activity. This can happen as early as 6 weeks into pregnancy. While the law prohibits the state from enforcing the ban, it instead authorizes private citizens to bring civil suits against anyone who aids or abets an abortion. Just gonna pause there really quick. Also, what are the civil suits gonna be? What they're suing them for what? You're suing them for what? Literally, what is it that you're trying to sue them for? What are you trying to get? Who is it that's suing them? What do you want out of this? I'm going to link these down here so that you can click on these links too about unprecedented, more on the abortion bill and everything. A whistleblower website set up by the anti-abortion group Texas Right to Life. I love that they are called an anti-abortion group. They're not a pro-life group. They're an anti-abortion group. Texas Right to Life, that's their name, calls on community members to anonymously report anyone they think might be violating the law, which can even include a driver taking someone to a clinic. As online submission forms spread across the internet, scores of social media users from TikTok to Twitter reacted by calling on people to flood the tip line with anything but violators. This is when I'm yay, I love being a social media user. YouTube is about the only social media that I still use. I've been using a little bit of Twitter for my whole pumpkin gate shit, but yeah, I'm proud of y'all. Wifey's a TikToker, I'm proud of y'all. One TikTok user said in a video that she has submitted 742 fake reports of Texas Governor Greg Abbott, a proponent of the law, getting an abortion. For those of you who don't understand why that's hilarious, he's a cis man. He cannot get an abortion. It's physically impossible. It would be a shame if TikTok crashed the prolifewhistleblower.com website. The caption stated, a real shame. I love it. I love it. The video garnered more than 80,000 likes and more than 480,000 views. Another TikTok user even says he coded an iOS shortcut to let iPhone users submit false reports repeatedly. This video garnered more than 175,000 views. I only got partway through this article, so I need to go find that. I don't have iOS anymore. Dang it. I don't have an iPhone. I have an Android now. But that sounds hilarious. The calls soon emerged on Twitter, Reddit, and beyond. Oh yeah, I also do use Reddit. Okay. With users sharing images of themselves reporting fictional characters such as Shrek to uploading nonsensical memes online. Diana, a New York-based social media user who asked to be identified just by her first name due to concerns that speaking out can make her a target, told ABC News that she submitted an anonymous tip reporting a Simpsons character as an abortion physician. Diana said she felt the law was a huge blow to women's rights and a huge step backwards. It's just a little step that I could do with my smartphone. It's not like I did anything amazing, but there are people out there doing real work and I support them. And I wish I was brave enough to do that. Nah, girl. What you did was great. For real. What is the line? If a million different people in a million little places do a million little things, then the whole world changes. Sorry. That was one that my Nana used to quote. Million little. I think the main goal. Oh, sorry. The purpose is to clog their inbox because it's ridiculous, she added. you're making your citizens turn against each other too. So it's kind of twofold if you ask me. You're asking people to tattle on people that are, some of them maybe trying to get life-saving services. Exactly. I think the main goal is to stop them from finding people that are trying to get the life-saving services or personal health services, she added. But she would also be happy if her message even just angered someone on the receiving end. This is not the first time social media users across the nation have banded together for a digital protest. Last year, TikTok users claimed responsibility for a dismal turnout at a Trump campaign rally, saying they mobilized to reserve tickets at the event they had no intention of attending. I remember that, and I remember hearing about it ahead of time, and I was like, surely they're going to be like, oh, well, there's all this shit going on. So, like, we better, like, double check people who are, getting tickets and, like, just, do a little quick background check to make sure that there's, like, a Republican in their life. But I don't think they did. Because, seriously, like, some of the people that I heard about getting tickets to this event, it was just like, wait, what? But at the same time, I don't think that they sold out. So, it might not have made that much of a difference. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, in the chat, all of that. I'm going to switch back to my other screen so I can, be big and y'all can see my face. But yeah, that's what I got. I knew this was going to be a quick one tonight. Just, I'm going to be getting ready for bed. And like I said, I'm going to be getting ready to do a live stream in the morning. We're going to do a reaction to Becky's vlog. Okay, I can't dance. I'm sorry. I can't dance. This thing is on a delay. You guys are probably all like, stop it. Quit that. I don't know. I'm just feeling my oats tonight, guys. I'm sorry. I just, like, that made me smile so hard when I saw that shit, like, about them just, like, flooding the app, the reporting website. Yeah, Becky, you guys have heard me say it before. Like, Becky gives me, like, true, like, third season main character vibes. Like, she just seems like an awesome person. It might have been you that was telling me, Subitaneous, that, like, her vlog seems chill and, like, that seems awesome. And I just can't wait for her to, like, actually do, like, live streaming herself and just to, like, blossom into, like, a whole ass individual person, like, away from Amberlynn. Like, I'm ready for it. I'm so ready for it. So, yeah. I'm probably gonna hop off. I was thinking I would be done at 8, but I actually went through that really quickly. I've got 5 extra minutes before I need to take my nighttime medicines. But if you guys have any questions, I can answer. I'm just gonna, like, lean over here really quick for just a minute, and then I'll come back and check the chat. I know I probably answered most of them earlier today. I thought of something to tell you guys about that will take me less than 5 minutes, because I was thinking about this the other day. Have you guys... Okay, if you've seen my video about, like, how Karen is, like, the ferryman that takes, well, okay, Subitaneous asked, what is the average airspeed of an unladen swallow? And that depends on whether you're talking, like, an African or European swallow. That... Is that the answer you wanted? Okay, so I was thinking about this, right? Why is it that most Karens, and not all Karens, but most Karens are AFAB white people, like myself? Like, why? Why is it Like, I'm like, why are we all, like, why are all the Karens us? Right? Like, me and my mom, right? And femme presenting. Like, there can, I think that AFAB and femme presenting white people. That's what I'm going to say. So I was thinking about this, right? And it occurred to me that as an AFAB person, I have been told my entire life that, like, you gotta fight to break through that glass ceiling. You gotta fight to, like, do whatever it is that, like, people put, like, a barrier in front of you. You gotta fight to break that barrier. Pammy Poodle says that I'm streaming multi-stream. How do I know which one to participate in? Usually the Twitch is a little bit easier because I can actually, like, type back to you, but either way is fine, and I can actually now see both chats on the screen. So I feel like we've all been told, like, you have to fight to get respect, right? You have to fight against the misogyny. You have to fight against the man to, like, get your respect. And we have hundreds of examples of times that it worked, right? I think that's not necessarily the case for non-AFAB, non-white people, right? And sometimes for AFAB non-white people too. Like, they don't have examples. Like, we have hundreds of examples probably in our own lives of our own family members and friends, or stories that we've heard of, like, times when it was like, yeah, she put her foot down and she, like, finally broke through, right? So even if it's like just a perceived injustice, as AFAB white people, we're like, we gotta fight, you know? We got to fight this injustice. And the other thing that occurred to me is that I think a lot of Karens act like it is the same for everyone when they get the cops called on them. Like, it's the same experience for everybody when they get the cops called on them, which is not the case. We know that's not the case. We know that for Black people, they're more likely to get killed, as well as other minorities, right? And for, again, a lot of AFAB white people, a lot of white women are not the sole breadwinner of the family. So, like, if they lose their job, if they, like, whatever, it's not necessarily detrimental to them. Whereas for a lot of minorities and other people, like, it absolutely can be detrimental. Even if they don't get shot or whatever, it can still be freaking detrimental to their lives, right? So that's what I'm thinking, that it's like, maybe some of the reasons why it's more us white chicks that are Karens. But, like, can we just, like, stop for a minute and, like, whenever you're, like, having that moment of, like, you need to, like, fight to get to the top, maybe, like, think about, like, bringing other people up with you as opposed to, like, stepping on other people to get there. Get what I'm saying? Also, here's my what my little, like, 2 cents of advice to white women from a white lady. Call each other on your shit. Okay? That's not always, like, a place where, like, other minorities can call you on your shit. So let's call each other on our shit. All right? And, like, yes, you can do it gently and be like, hey, Shelly, you were maybe kind of being a little bit of a Karen back there, just, like, heads up, and, like, I know you probably didn't mean it, but just, like, maybe consider, and just, like, literally, like, let's just, like, call each other on our shit, okay? Pammy Poodle says, also, women are considered bitches for being appropriately assertive, so maybe lots of Karens think that they're being unfairly called out when they are being actual bitches. Yes, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. That it's like, we don't, like, I know for a fact, like, there have been situations where it's like, yeah, I know that you think that I'm a bitch right now, but I don't fucking care because I'm just being assertive. And I can see where that could be, like, an easy line. Whereas, like, you could start being a bitch and, like, you still think that you're just being assertive. That's a very good point, Pammy Poodle. Very good point. All right. There's just some thoughts that I had after I made that video, and I, like, didn't, you know, the video's already up and everything, and I just like was thinking about it, and I was like, let me write this down, but it wasn't like really enough for like a video in and of itself. But I have reached my nighttime med time, so I am gonna hop off. But if you are up in a few hours, okay, not a few hours, but like, was it like 10 hours? Karens are still not okay. Yes, absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. Karens are still not okay. And especially, I'm talking to you white ladies out there. Call out your white lady friends when they're acting like Karens. Right? Be like, hey, just so that you know, you're being kind of bitchy back there. And I know that you were just trying to be assertive, and I get that. And like, he was being a dick too, or whatever, you know, like, don't just like be a bitch back. But you know, like, let's learn some decorum from Becky. I love Becky. I love her so much. And just like nicely say, hey, I gotta call you out on your shit. I gotta call you out on your shit. And yeah, you know what? It never feels good to get called on your shit. It doesn't. It doesn't. This one's for you, Amberlynn. It never feels good to get called on your shit. Nobody likes it. But if you like pause and like take it and consider it, you'll be a better person for it. I'm not saying you gotta follow every piece of advice every time somebody like calls you out on some shit that like you actually did that shit. But if people are calling you out on shit, maybe consider what they're saying. In my opinion, it makes you a better person. All right, guys, I'm gonna jump off. Thank you guys so much for coming and watching. I appreciate it. I love you all so much. You know, because now we're telling like strangers that we meet on the internet that we love them. So I love you guys. I love you guys. And I will be back at 7:30 a.m. Central Time, US. So if you guys want, if you're up that early and you want to watch Becky's vlog with me and react with me, I will be up. But it will also be up for replay if you guys want to watch it. If you're not an early bird and you're like, fuck that, I'm not waking up that early. So, all right, guys, thank you. Real quick, thank you to, I actually don't have my end screen on this profile yet, but I think I remember all of my financial backers, so I'm going to thank them. The Cora Sinclair, my lovely Savage Mama, TikTok Bunny with the bunny emoji, and Peapot Fairy. Those are the guys who have helped me out financially. Also, there is a person that I need to add to that for this month, and I forgot who it was. It might be Sabatanius. Also, go back and follow Porgnacious if you haven't already, but I'm sorry, my shout out screen, I gotta fix it. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you all next time.